Hey everybody. Hi Nikori. Hi Matty. How are you both doing? Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Getting set up behind the scenes here. Let's open a blender and my scene. Let's see what we're gonna get going into today. Not what I wanted to show, but here we go. Let me just open up scene here. Should I kit or assets? Assets, I think. Let's open up level 2. Let's get going and do some art, shall we? Hell yeah. As always, quite unsure what we're going to be working on today, so I'll have to figure it out. As a quick recap of what happened in between the streams, not much this time around. Not much. I'll give like a quick overview of what I tried to do. I don't even have a comparison, but I tried to make the furnace look a little bit better than the quick thing that we tried to do last time. And I think it already looks like a bit more decent. The only thing that is we still need to improve upon is just the texture itself. I think right now the geometry is being limited by the actual texture that we use to displace the geometry. So this is a good enough placeholder for now. But I think if we want to level it up to the next level, we'll need to actually do some work on the texture itself. And make that look way more interesting. And then do the whole thing again with the displacement. Hi Sarah! How are you doing? And then I did a little bit of work on the bellows that are connecting to it, but that's pretty much it. I haven't really done anything else. Oh no, not true. I'm trying something new on the wall here. Because I was looking at like a local open air museum and they have like palisade walls like this. So I'm taking some inspiration from them. The first thing was to have the holes like a little bit more randomized, because before you could really tell that it was just like modular stuff, right? So I'm trying to break that up a little bit. And then I added some of these like nails to the floor, so it makes a little bit more sense. Got nails on top of here as well. And I'm trying to use bark on top of it as well, but as you can see, like it's very early days. Like I think it could be cool, but especially the transition between the bark and the wood itself is going to be relatively tricky. Hey Karaf, how are you doing? So, actually, yeah, let's start with the bellows first. Let's see how far we can push this thing. Or no, you know what? Let's switch it upside down. Let me open up the wall, and I'm gonna see how far we can push that with the stuff that we already have, or if I need to push it further in some other way, because I'm getting the feeling that I might have to do some shader tweaks to get to the level of where I want to be at. I'll explain what I mean by that. My music boosted a little bit. So I was watching. What is it? Yeah, so these are scans of some. These are scans from the open air museum that we're probably gonna go to tomorrow. So this is where I'm getting like my inspiration from the wall, right? You can see that I pretty much like replicated what they're doing. Just with my own proportions, right? So we're looking at these type of walls now. Right? So, but the main thing I feel that I'm missing is the color. The color variation is like really striking in these, where you have like the raw wood, where it has like this really nice discoloration between like the stuff that's like more exposed to like the elements. I'm gonna see if I can replicate that somehow. But first I need to see how far we can push that with the stuff that we already have. So let's experiment with that today. Just gonna move my ref to the side over here. Hey, second favorite! How are you doing? So yeah, we have the bark layer on top of it already. What I was kind of experimenting with is this little section where I'm trying to see if I can use the decals that we already have. Oh wait, hold up, it's not even going all the way around. Let me see what I can do here. So I'm trying to use the decals that we already have to see if we can push the whole vibe of this thing like a little bit further, you know? Second favorite, you just woke up and you can't type on your tablet? Oh. I always struggle with that too. Like typing on a mobile phone or anything like that, I'm so used to like a full keyboard that I can't do anything else anymore. Let's see, I wanna have the decals poking through. Right, and then we'll see. Where do we need to map it to? So that's the top edge. Guess that makes sense. Putting it here. We'll do something. This. I honestly feel like my mouse is dying on me. I know I keep saying this every time, but I feel like half of the time it doesn't read input. But this is the thing, right? Like now, so if we use this decal, this is an interesting one, because technically right now what's happening, right? If we look at let me actually open up Epic Pen so I can put like a little paint over here. Where you at? Just gonna hide that behind my face cam over here. So what is currently happening, if we look at the transition, right? So this is gonna go down, but it actually goes down into this, and then it comes back up again to level out with like the normal wood. Where normally what we want is you would have the transition from the bark, right? It goes down one step. And then you have like another step. And then it goes to like the base of the wood. So I don't really have anything like that in my decal sheet at the moment. Wait, no, I kind of do. I have these things. Okay, no, never mind. I think this might work. We'll have to adjust the proportions a little bit here. Oh, I forgot to do something very important. I forgot to send my mom my YouTube link. Let's have a look. Oh, this doesn't work. I have to do that another time. Damn it. Wait, Karav. I'm kind of stuck on deciding how much geo I need to give my modular assets. It depends, right? It depends on what you're building. Can you give me an example? Or like a taste of what you're building? A little bit of context always goes a long way. Yeah, so now... in a medieval city. Wait, did we look at your medieval city in last Work in Progress Wednesday? Is it the same one? Or is it just by chance? It's hard to keep track of like Discord names compared to people on YouTube, you know? So if you're doing a medieval city, like the kind of answer but also a non-answer is you gotta give it as much as you need to make it look good and not make it look like a low poly thing, right? Like if you look at the wireframe, what I'm doing, right? These things are quite dense, you know, and I can optimize them for sure, and I'm gonna do that at some point, because there's a lot of wasted geo, right? But like all the geo that I'm using is kind of being used in like a way where it's changing the silhouette of the actual object, right? And where it isn't doing that, that's where you can optimize. Or, well, in my case, it's twofold, right? It's for the actual silhouette, but also for the vertex painting, in my case. Because I get a lot of my texture data from, like, my texture detail from the actual vertex painting, right? So I need to keep that in mind too. Hi, Mazeltov! How's it going? Like, if I really wanted to, I could cut out, like, all these, because they're mostly just flat, right? Even though you can see that I even made, like, a little bit of... Probably better to see it this way, right? Change to, like... This is a good matte cap. And if I set it to... Cavity, maybe? Not depth of field and not the outline. You can kind of see that even the flat, quote-unquote, flat pieces of wood, they still have some definition coming from the geometry, right? So I think add the geometry where it's needed, and try to make the most out of it. That's probably the best that I can say there. Yeah, it's very hard to tell, like, how much. It depends. It also depends on how close you're gonna get to stuff as well. If you're making a first-person kind of thing, or if you're making a third-person kind of thing, right? If you're seeing the castle from a distance, then you don't have to use as much geometry as if you're getting like really up close to it. So all that stuff is very important. I know it's a whole bunch of non-answers, right? But the boring answer is always depends. Right, so let's actually have a look how this then looks inside of the engine. Assign that here. I actually need to clean this up a little bit. Actually, just clean all unused. Oh yeah, that works. Perfect. Okay, let's do it manually then. I need bark. And I need those decals. Nice. So now I'm just gonna see how this looks in the engine. And if that is gonna give us enough to play around with. Like enough, not to play around with, but like enough visual fidelity, I guess. Nope, it's not that one. How are you doing, Mazeltov? Oh, second favorite is good with his phone, but the tablet, I always send stuff before I'm ready. Oh, relatable. I need some different music today. Not feeling this. Get some chill going on in here. Yeah, that is definitely not the right material. I think it could actually be interesting to have the desaturated nature like built in like another layer of the vertex paint. Because now I'm mostly using RNG, so like the red and the green channel. So maybe we use like the color variation in the blue channel. Maybe we put that there, the shader. That could be interesting. Hey Tusker! Welcome to the chat. Happy to have you here. How are you doing? Mazeltov is sick once again. COVID twice in 1 month. Oh shit. Do not dare to take a sick day on work. Wait, what? Take a day off, man. Take at least a couple days off, especially if you're sick with COVID. That's probably why you're sick with COVID twice in a month, because you're not taking a day off. You gotta take care of yourself. Just lurking. Nice. Gotta take care of yourself, man. Gotta do it. Good morning, Antonio. So I think what I just added is cool. But I think now we need to do a little bit more work on the bark transition. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. So let me actually see if I can find. We're gonna have a look at the scans again, right? Let's get some ref. And then tomorrow we're gonna go out on a proper trip and get some good ref. Oh, what's happening? a little blurry, so it's going to be tricky to see. But you can kind of see it here that the transition between the bark is not as clean as I make it out to be, right? Or even like it continues, which is pretty cool. So we'll need to kind of replicate the same thing. Right, where it becomes a little bit more organic. Isn't the scale too small of the wood? It feels a little bit off. Which wood do you mean? This one? Oh my god. Look at the craziness. Because you might be right, because I think I over-exaggerated like the tiling on these, which make them look like way more detailed than the actual stuff in here, right? But I think that's an issue with scaling on my side. Because I scaled these things up. When like I tiled them more than I intended the thing for. Looks so blurry. Yeah, but it's all right in the grand scheme of things, right? Because I can add more. What is it now? Like, what kind of texture density are we at? Oh yeah, I'm using Zen UV now, so get a texture density. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit under. Okay. So, the way to fix that, I'm just gonna isolate this one, right? You guys are right. Let's fix it up in here. So now I did 2 cuts. The way to fix that would be to introduce like another cut in here. Just thinking. So if we do 3 cuts. Right, and if we then do another UV. And then stack these all up. Yeah, we're getting quite close. I do need to scale them down still, though. This one's kind of fine. Right, and then we'll map it on there. One on here. We're gonna... The annoying thing here is that we're gonna have some seams, right? Actually, what we could do is we could make use of the seam and actually... cut it inwards. Do you know any good sources for texturing semi-realistic? Nope. It depends on what you mean with semi-realistic. Because, yeah, that can be like a whole bunch of stuff, right? Okay, so right, so now it's starting to feel a little bit better. Oh my god. Mouse is... Let me actually grab my other mouse. I'll be right back. All right. Let's see if this one actually works better. Wait, was I just using the wrong setting? All right. Where's my little plug? It's like stylized, but at the same time it's not too stylized, but looks realistic. Antonio. That doesn't make it easier for me, right? Like maybe if suggest some games to me if I'm thinking about the style. Because saying that it's stylized but not too stylized but also looks realistic, like that's not really helpful, you know? Let's see if this works better. Everything just flickered. Okay. And we're good to go again. Send me a pic on Discord. Yeah, sure. This is better. Okay. So yeah, for people that are new, I see that we have quite a lot of people in the chat today. Feel free to ask any question. Maybe you're working on something cool, but are stuck currently, or maybe you have some questions about the game industry at large. Feel free to ask away. I would love to help you out, or just discuss some stuff, you know? Maybe you're curious about what I think about something. Just seeing if we can, in the meantime, make this piece of bark a little bit more interesting. Hey Jay, how's it going? Okay, so we're getting a little bit more definition, and then if we start moving stuff about here. We move this on. I'm just trying to conform it a little bit more towards the bark that we have currently. And stretchy boys. It's a little sharp, but I'm gonna see how far we need to go. Some of this stuff. Oh, for this I do need to have this on. If you don't notice, like, correct face attributes, like, that's just like a really handy tool. If you don't want to destroy your UVs, especially when working with tilables like I'm doing. Super handy. And you can find that in the tool, like if you go into like edit mode, you can find it under transform in the tool menu over here. Super nice. Speaking of sources, do you know of any good sources for environmental retopology? The ones I managed to find are usually just zero mesh it type of stuff. If you're looking into retopology, look at how people are doing it with props, rather than the environment stuff. Because if you're gonna look for rocks or like super organic stuff, usually that's what people just recommend, like, oh, just decimate it kind of thing, you know, like. Which honestly, like in most cases, like, is fine, right? Like in most cases, like especially when we're talking about rocks are so forgiving that like zero mesh it or like decimate or like something like that really works well. But for other things, you might have to just approach it in the same way that you would do it with props as well. What are we looking here? Set texture density. Why is that all separated though? Yeah, okay, that's better. Issue here again is I don't really have like big decals, right? So we're getting some horizontal or like vertical stretching. I think that might be fine. We can reduce it by moving this stuff down. Even optimizing this stuff a little bit more. Let's have a look at the M's. I mean, I'm looking at these screenshots, right, Antonio? Actually bring them up on screen. I think the thing that makes them look stylized is because the game is not finished. Right? Like this leans way more into the realistic side of things. A lot of games actually do this, you know? I don't think this is too far from like what you see in like most realistic games. Like I feel like this is pretty close to The Last of Us. In terms of like the approach of texturing, right? Because there is a lot of noise in it. Like some objects are like way more simplified than other ones, right? But I think a good way to look at some of this stuff is approach it like you would do realistic, and then just be like a little bit bigger with a little bit bolder with the shapes, and a little bit bolder with the color usage. I think, yeah, that's all I can give. Like the best thing to do if you're figuring out a style Oh, OG The Last of Us. Yeah, that's actually a good point. That was also a bit more quote-unquote stylized, right? Which I feel stylized has more to do with in that case more to do with graphical restrictions than anything else. Right, so I think let's try this again. The day before its inspiration, you should look into The Division and The Last of Us. So what I was saying, like a good tip, if you wanna figure out the style for yourself, build one asset. One. Use that as the benchmark for your like how detailed you want to go into geometry, how detailed you need to go into your texturing. Once you figure out the style on one thing, then transpose that or like add that to like all the other things. Because yeah, you don't want to get stuck into like making a whole scene and then having to do like everything at the same time. I mean, we've talked about this time and time before, right, Antonio? Small. Start small, and then if you like it, continue building upon it. Right? It's always the same thing. Like, just keep it very small, and then just build up upon it. But like, if you're doing style exploration, like the if you're doing style exploration, that's the best way to do it. Like, just build a benchmark. Sometimes stylization can come from more from the texturing rather than the models too, like brighter colors, more pronounced outlines, etc. Well, this is the thing, right? Like, stylization, right, is like a very difficult topic because it's not set in stone and it's constantly moving, a moving benchmark. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at realistic games, they're always trying to make stuff look more realistic. But as soon as it's not the benchmark, then it becomes more stylized again. Right? Because at a certain point, what we looked to The Last of Us and we said like, oh my god, that's probably one of the more realistic things that I've ever seen. But now we look back at it and it is more stylized than it is realistic. Right? And that's because the tech in the lighting has changed, the tech in the texturing has changed, like the people that have built the games are getting better at it. You know, like, it's a constantly moving needle. So that's also why if you ask people like, hey, I want to do like a semi-stylized thing, you're literally talking about like, stylized can be, in my opinion, can be from like low poly, like flat color, to all the way something like the first Last of Us, right? That's the spectrum we're talking about. So it's very difficult to kind of get an accurate thing about that, or like give like accurate feedback. Hey Vilko, thank you so much for popping into the chat. How long do you reckon a level like a stadium in FIFA takes to build, where the building is the entire map the player plays on? So a disclaimer here is that the timelines for personal projects and professional projects is always like vastly different, right? Because you're dealing with like multiple rounds of feedback and art direction choices and all that stuff. So it's kind of difficult to say that, but for a stadium like that, I guess it could be a month, you know, because they have to build like a lot of stadiums. Yeah, a month to 2 months to potentially 6 months, depending on like the complexity of the stadium and how much feedback there has been back and forth between art direction and the art itself, right? And I think for them, like, the authenticity is also a big factor, right? So it kind of makes it, on one end, it kind of makes it easier because they have a lot of reference material that they can work with. But on the other end of the spectrum, it also makes it way more difficult because people can look at all the pictures from it as well and then see if it's accurate or not. Right? So it kind of makes, like, it's a double-edged sword where it kind of makes it easier for them to build it, but then also way more difficult because people are going to scrutinize it more. Hey Joe, how's everyone doing? Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you so much. Sarah is saying, I've seen some models that are quite complex in geometry, but seem stylized because of the texturing. Example, Borderlands. Yeah. Borderlands to me is a perfect blend between stylized and realistic. Yeah. I think that's also an interesting one, right? And I think you said it, like, to you, that's the perfect blend. And I think everyone kind of has made up their own mind when it comes to, like, what's the holy grail and also what's the middle ground between stylization and, like, realistic, right? Which doesn't help the whole conversation if we talk about it. But there's also no other way to do it because it's such a fluid thing, you know? Because I would say that what we've recently seen is a lot of really interesting stylized looking games when it comes to texture detail and geometry. But then the lighting is very realistic because of all the developments in lighting technology that we've seen, right? Like real-time global illumination, like stuff like Lumen coming on board and all that kind of stuff. And I love that, where you have like a very stylized game, like maybe even like I mean, I don't love the style, but like we were talking about this in the community chat about the last, oh damn it, it's on the tip of my tongue now. I was talking about it. Yeah, basically it's a game and they kind of pixelate like all the textures, so like you can see the actual pixels in the texturing, but then they do top that off with making the lighting in every scene look very realistic. And it's kind of cool, right? Because you have this very stylized, very pixelated look with like a realistic lighting on top of it. So there's cool things you can do where you can do something very realistic on like one aspect, like realistic lighting, but then also do something very stylized on the other hand where you have like pixelated textures, right? There's cool combination that you can do there. Oh no, the stacking is fucking it up again. Set the pixel density, let's move this over. I want connected only, please. Just back to some of this stuff. Make sure that the seams are doing all right. Lighting changes the feel of the scene as well. Oh yeah, I mean, a great example of that is look at the recent updates that they've done with Lumen in Fortnite, right? I think that's such a great example on how important like lighting is when it comes to a scene. Because that game looks like completely different because of it. It looks very grounded, you know? Lady Raven is saying, I agree, it's not set in stone, so it makes it harder to realize. Every mentor I had a different kind of stylization in mind, which was exhausting for me. Yeah, that's why I was asking for game examples, right? Because if you use a game, then I can extract like all the information that I need from that. Where it's like, okay, the game that we looked at before was realistic in its lighting. The textures were like a little bit more stylized because they were simplified, right? But the actual geometric detail was then on the realistic side again, right? And then we have like these levers that we kind of can pull. And then if you want to replicate that, I can tell you that, if you want to replicate this style, then you need to add more geometry detail because that's currently missing, you know, in comparison to what we saw in the reference. Yeah, it's not an easy thing, you know? It's not an easy thing to define. Not at all. That's also what makes it interesting, right? That's also what helps people like stand apart and like stand on their own 2 feet when they're like, hey, look, I found a cool style, I'm gonna make all my work in that, and then people just gravitate around that because it is unique. Well, if it's done well, right? Because I think it's actually very tricky. I think this is also like one of the bigger conversations, right? I think people have this perception of like realistic is hard and stylized is easy, where I actually think it's the other way around. Because there is so much reference material out there that if you want to recreate something, you just have to be good at looking and then also replicating that, right? But with stylization, you're kind of doing the same thing, but then you have the added thing on top of it where you have to combine like a certain texturing style with like a certain lighting style with like a certain geometric detail, right? Like you're kind of making your own thing, which if one of those things like doesn't match with the other ones, right, it can feel like really jarring. And this is like a huge oversimplification, right? Because it goes even further than that. Look, I was saying, yeah, that makes the most sense. I think that the most difficult thing with stadiums is not the base, but the details in the crowd. The crowd will probably be more visible than the stadium underneath them. Yeah, I think so. And the crowd, I mean, I haven't played a sports game ever, I want to say. Like, it's not my thing. But even with the crowds, right, like, an artist is not going to be responsible for them. Like, I think what they do is they just have to define the zones where, like, they spawn the crowds, right? And just make sure that there's room for crowds to be spawned. But yeah, I feel like you can get away with, like, a lot of stuff on the stadiums, where you can hide stuff behind other things. That being said, there's going to be hardcore nerds out there that will point that out. And I think there's also a side of me that really underestimates like the amount of time and detail that they do put in stadiums, because it is a fantasy, right? Like they're catering towards like a fantasy, and if something is not right according to the fans, like, yeah, it can go to like ridiculous what should I say, like ridiculous bits of outrage online really quick because the stadium isn't perfect. I mean, I don't know if that actually happens, but yeah, I wouldn't also be surprised if it didn't. Like if it did. Because that happens with like any game, you know? People are passionate about it, man. I make all my UV seams as hard, sharp or hard edged. Is this wrong? Nope. That is exactly right. That's what you need to do to get good bakes. So usually the rule there is if you get to an edge that is close to 90 degrees, you have to split it in your UVs and make it a sharp edge as well. Obviously, there's definitely definitely gonna be moments where you don't want to do that, right? But that's what I would say is the main thing to keep in mind. Oh, why is it doing that though? Just rotate this. Maybe this could be cool as well. I'm gonna see this can actually work. Interesting. Lots of people tell me that's wrong. People who work in the industry while I'm a student. Well, so there are exceptions, right? But I think the majority of that rule is still correct though. Like, can you give me an example of when they say that you wouldn't do that? It would be interesting to dive into it, right? Let's see. Let's edit this thing. Oh, I don't wanna. Yep. Game art is a very tricky thing. Definitely is. Wait, so if we are gonna make this edge softer, then I'm probably gonna make that like one seamless kind of thing. They just say only mark edges that are close to 90 degrees or slightly less to be sharp. All the other UV scenes don't need to be marked as sharp. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's actually a very interesting... there's actually a very quick thing that you can do, right? Mark it as sharp, bake it. Don't mark it as sharp, bake it. See what looks best. Right? Because I see what they're saying, right? If you have a surface, but that is like, I don't know, 15 degrees, so it's quite rounded, but you needed a seam there for whatever reason. I think that's where people get I've heard two things, right? I would still mark it sharp and then only like not mark it sharp if it looks bad. But I also know people that do the opposite, right? They make it soft and then if they need to fix it, then they'll mark it as sharp. Also, full disclosure, I am more of an environment artist than a prop artist, right? So just want to throw that out there. Because, yeah, it is difficult. Just gotta test it. Because the thing that you do need to keep in mind, actually, I might be wrong on this, right? But like, I mean, the overall thought is that you mark something sharp, and then it's gonna split the vertex normals, right? And then it will do like the baking different, and like the normal is actually gonna compensate for that different bake, right? So that is what's happening. Whereas if with a soft one, you just have like one vertex normal, and it's gonna bake different again. So I think even in that case, where you have a hard or a soft edge, like it might even look the same, but the normal map will look different. Right? Because the normal map will counteract what the mesh normals are doing. Okay, and now if we unwrap this whole thing again. Oh. I mean, that's why we bake, right? I mean, that's not the reason why we bake necessarily. Like, we bake because we usually can't just spend like the raw amount of geometry that we would need. So that's why we have to kind of fake it in a texture map, right? Yeah, a bake is always, like a normal bake is always gonna take into account the geometry that you're baking upon. Still the same. That's where we need one. And we set the texel density, and we'll just give it like a randomized rotation. I think select the whole edge, then just push it in. Let's see how that looks for a second, right? Gotta constantly check in the engine to see how that looks. Seeing that much of a difference. So okay, I'm gonna try something real quick. So if we change the material here, because we do have like individual control over it, that look like it would probably be darker, right? We go from dark wood to then a lighter wood. If we, I don't know, we're just doing some tests here, right, to see what looks good in combination, because I like that it feels more exposed like this, especially with like a darker bark surrounding it. Then if we make this a little bit lighter again, right? So like something like that. I think that could work. Yeah, it's always tricky, right? It's always tricky. Like, what I'm trying to do with all the advice that I give on here or in our Discord community or wherever I'm giving advice, like I try to stick to like the pure basics, right? Like the stuff that I know that works. Even though on the topic that we were just talking about, I know people that do it the completely opposite way, right? And they make it work. I think it's because at a certain point you get to a point where you kind of know the rules and then you can start to bend them a little bit, right? But the people that I'm talking about, like, they have, yeah, decades, like a decade or maybe like even more experience when it comes to like all these topics, right? So at this point, they kind of know what they're doing. So yeah, if they do something and they can make it work, like, yeah. But usually, or like generally, not advise that to like new person, just to retain their sanity, you know. Don't want to drive people crazy with all the technical mumbo jumbo that some of the more advanced people do out there. Okay, see you later, Antonio. Have fun. Wait, was this textile density? Oh, the other side actually looks pretty interesting as well, because that doesn't have normal information on it, right? So we use that instead. Let me again just test it real quick in the engine. Put all this off. Oh no, what did I do? How long have you been in the industry now, Tim? So, 7 years in total. I'm not currently in the industry anymore, though, if you were wondering. I'm just doing this full time now. But before that, yeah, 7 years. Stack these islands. Set the textile density. It's kind of weird. I don't even know if this counts as industry experience anymore or not. You know, like the stuff that I'm doing now. I guess we're kind of doing our own studio stuff as well, so I guess that counts. Like all the stuff that I'm doing now, like right now on stream, no clue. Still making art. No, so that must count for something. Nice, bud. Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Like I would still the stuff that I'm doing now, I'm having so much fun. I would not trade it for anything, honestly. Even though it definitely has its downsides as well, you know? I think I think the thing that I miss the most is the people, right? Like going into the office and like working in a team with like people that are doing some crazy shit, and you can just look at their screen and be like, "Oh my god, what are you doing here?" You know? It's still an experience making stuff, right? So lessons learning from your own projects. Yeah, it's also like the stuff that I need to do now is so much more varied than the stuff that I had to do before. Because yeah, it's running your own business too, right? So it's not only doing the art, but then also doing like the social media stuff and setting up all the back end and keeping people organized, because we're working with a couple of people. And you know, it's a lot, but it's also like a lot of fun. I love it. And we got some pretty exciting stuff that we're kind of working on, so yeah. I wouldn't trade it. Hell no. Plus I get to do personal work most of the time as well, so nothing to complain about. Oh, that's using the wrong shader. Oh my god, hay fever season is coming, so getting an itchy nose. Yeah, and like even on art, right? Like I've learned so much over the last couple of months or years, where making my own geometry node stuff, making blueprints, like still making art, like it's awesome. Join the Discord very soon. Looking forward to chatting with all the cool peeps. Awesome. And talking about chatting, I will get back to your message that you sent me yesterday, I think. I will get back to you soon, buddy. Set the text intensity. Stack them up. Oh no. No, I forgot to duplicate it. What is everyone else working on, though? Kinda curious. Some people are working on cool medieval stuff. Love it. Totally not biased at all, you know? Doing the opposite. Sci-fi? Oh, making a forest out of candy. Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, I remember you asking the chat last time. I remember now. We actually... That was one of the more fun things that I worked on, actually. We did a holiday update for Planet Coaster when I was working at Frontier Developments. And we had to make like a whole bunch of like buildings and like decorations just purely made out of candy. That was so fun to work on. so fun to work on. Because you can go crazy with the shapes, you know? Like, you can be very... very creative with it. That was very cool. Probably like one of the more interesting things that I worked on, honestly. I mean, interesting, fun things. That's how I would say it. Yeah, Planet Coaster is a fun game. I actually loved playing it after I worked on it too. It's a very artistic game. It's not really good if you want to take a break from art because it feels like art. That's the only thing that I didn't like about it. The building is so elaborate. It's actually crazy. Let's make the top of these like a bit more interesting too, because we have the geometry anyway. Might as well do something with it. Okay, and then we'll conform this to it too. Yeah, that was a fun game to work on. The thing that I liked about working on it is because the community interaction was so good. Like we would I remember when we would release like a pack or the game itself, like our morning was like browsing Reddit and like looking at all the cool stuff that people were building, and then taking that as inspiration of maybe like, oh, it would be cool if we can do this, you know, on top of it. Yeah. It's very interesting. Let me send you the link of how you can join. It's actually pretty easy. You just go to beyondextend.com. I'll add the link in the chat as well. Before joining, feel free to just check out like all the other resources as well on the website. We've got like a bunch of stuff in there. So take your time, think about it. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool perks if you wanna join up. Like you get like a PDF of like, oh my god, how many have I written? Like 250 pages, I think, full of like tips, like little like bite-sized tips. You can just go and explore on your own. It might give you like ideas for your next project. If you become a Patreon member, you get that as well, on top of everything else. There is a lot in there, yeah. I've written a lot. I've written a lot over the past couple of years. Oh, this is going to be a tricky question, second favorite. Because I know you're fairly new, so I'm not expecting you to have read all of it. Is there anything missing? Or anyone else that has had the PDF? Like, is there anything missing that you would love to see me write about in the future? I want to add that to the list then. Hey Arthurs, hello there. I bought your environment PDF. It's very good and useful. Worth the price. Oh, thank you so much. That's awesome. Glad to hear that it helped. Let's do another checkup in the engine. Oh, I forgot to change the shaders on these bits, I think. Oh, wait, let's do that. So, all of this stuff. These should all be decals. Or maybe like a question in general. You don't have to have bought the PDF for this, right? You don't have to have any insight. But what do you think is some advice that you're missing? Like some of the advice that you're missing, or some of the stuff that you're just not aware of. I mean, not aware of, but like, yeah. I don't know. Always interesting to hear what people think that that is not written enough about or something like that. What does it include in the PDF? 250 pages of tips. That's what is included in the PDF. Like it's very broad. It goes from like industry insights to standardized workflows in the industry, how to approach like setting up a trim sheet. Like it goes all over the place, you know? It gives you insight about like what the different seniorities are in the games industry as well. A whole bunch of topics. It's just like a lot of little tricks that I've learned from Unreal Engine. The last one was actually pretty cool. I wrote about how to make stuff look like it's a miniature inside of Unreal Engine by using camera tricks and like post-processing. It was a pretty fun one to write about. Give me a few minutes and I'll get a good answer for you. Oh, thanks, second favorite. That'd be awesome. Okay, so now I know that this technique is working. Let's see. Yep, you do get it with the Patreon as well. That's included in your subscription. It is... yeah, so now we know that this technique works, right? It kind of looks decent as well, like better than I was expecting. I think we did change like all the wood in the scene because of it though. So maybe... Oh. You know what we'll do. You know what we'll do. I'm gonna set this back. Basically gonna make it like a bit more dark again, like it was before. If I join the Patreon, do you keep Discord access even after the subscription runs out? Just curious how that works. No, unfortunately not. We're keeping the Discord for pay-in subscriptions. Because that's also a part of keeping the community a little bit smaller as well. And then, yeah, what if I apply the clean one to it? Oh, so if we go in here and then say apply the clean one. It just seems like a lot more extra admin work for it. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. But yeah, like the community is like a high priority of mine. So it definitely takes a bit of work to keep up with all that, but it's worth it. So, okay. So now we're only changing like the rest of it. The rest of it, It's a bit too dark, I think, at the moment. We always keep the numbers in XYZ2 down in XYZ2 for that same reason. How are you guys doing it then? Are you also doing it through Patreon, and then if you're no longer subscribed, then you lose access to it too? Okay, so let's first upgrade some of this stuff, right? Like, let's set up textile density. See if we can get like a little bit more out of it. Oh yeah, that's right, because all cancelled the Patreon, right? I remember reading about that. Forgot about that. That's cool though. This one is already done. Scale these suckers up a little bit so that they fit. What, okay. I'm actually curious. There are no trims. Oh, yeah, that's my other scene that I'm doing that in. I was playing around with the hotspot mapping technique. What is your favorite plugin for Blender for your workflow? Oh god, favorite one? That's a good question. I think in general, and it's such a small thing, right? To me, it's Edit Edge Flow. Like, where that helps me out so much in so many ways. Like, and is so applicable to like a lot of the objects. That might be my favorite. What it basically does is it will basically smooth out curves. Loop tool's pretty good as well. I love that. Even when the Patreon was live, we still were doing the same thing. We didn't want people paying for entry. It just didn't really fit our vision from it. Yep. That's fair enough. Yeah, it's cool to see communities out there doing it in their own way. Wait, where's this guy? All the way over here. Let's think. Some other ones. You can see me using like a lot of the UV tools. A lot of them are from UV Toolkit. Is a pretty good one. But I only use straighten UVs and stack islands. That's the only thing that I use out of here. So like these two basically. That's it. And the more recent one I've been playing around with is Zen UV for like the automatic like trim sheet mapping. It's like really cool as well. I'm still figuring it out, like how it actually works. I mean, I know how it works. It's just sometimes I don't know. It's not consistent enough yet for me. Or like I need to get with better grips with it too. All right, so all this stuff. So Joe, are you working together? Are you working together with Paul then? Are you community manager or admin or something like that? Jay is saying, Honestly, I've gotten to the point where I have made my own add-ons that work better for me than what are publicly available. Yeah, What kind of tools? I'm curious. Because I've made some tools myself as well, but they're like really elaborate things, right? Like, and for a lot of the stuff I can't be bothered. So be curious to hear what you are building. But at some point, I reckon one of my main ones will be whatever. Oh my god, a tree tool. Hell no. Dude, that thing is so janky, like you can't even imagine. That thing, oh my god. Like, it's like geometry nodes, and then I kind of slapped on like half of a script on it, but I never really took a proper look into scripting, so it's kind of half working. Oh my god, that thing is such a mess, man. It works for me, but oh my god, I am not comfortable with sharing that with anyone else. I've yet to make an add-on that's not janky. Dude, like, I think this add-on that I've made, like, is next level jank. Like, it is, oh my god, what would be the best way to describe it? Like, it is not even a band-aid anymore. Like, I'm not really using that metaphor properly. Like, it's a box of band-aids, right? It's just band-aids upon band-aids at this point, where I'm just like, cool, I got this thing working. I know that it might fuck up something else, but I'm just gonna deal with it, you know? Like, I can't be bothered at this point to sink more time into it. Because it's interesting that you bring that up. There's actually I need to go back to it and figure out what the hell I did to break my branch randomization. So before, what I really liked is that I had, based on like a gradient, I could select the parts of the tree that had dead branches on it, right? So I had this nice gradient from like the bottom where you had like a couple of dead branches, and then at the top it was like nice and lush, and I could play around with that gradient and like invert it and all that kind of stuff, which was pretty cool. Then I broke it. I don't know how I broke it, and now I'm confused where to even start. I love it. It definitely has its own charm, you know? Like, just making your own tool and looking at the complexity of it. Because what it did to me was actually give like a greater appreciation for people that do build like working tools. I was like, oh, there's actually people making proper tools. And I'm not talking about like programmers that do it, right? Or people with a lot of tech experience, but like artists as well that make really cool tools. Yeah. But I'm not one of them. It is fun to play around with though. Hey Kairo! How are you doing? Glad to have you back. Jay is saying one of my main add-ons at the moment is a custom exporter. Oh, wait, hold up. Before... Yeah, you mentioned exporter. Arthurs, that's actually one of the tools that I also use, like, a lot. Blender for Unreal Engine. Like, this thing is probably, like, the most requested thing from my streams that people have been asking about. So I'm gonna share it again. Where's my little chat window? Where's my chat? Right, so this thing is, yeah, for batch exporting tools, like this is the thing that I use the most. I use this on like a daily basis for all my projects. It's so good. It's so simple. Love it. Wait, so let's go back to what you were saying, Jay. One of the main add-ons at the moment is a custom exporter I'm working on. It does stuff like creating and maintaining folder structures for asset, and it has custom export that automatically does bakes in Painter. Yeah, that stuff is cool. I always loved the idea of like, hey, like pipeline automation, right? Like I have this asset, I know that I need to, let's say for example in my workflow, right? If I didn't have the vertex baking available in Unreal Engine, it would be cool that I can just like export, it automatically bakes the vertex colors and then just chucks it out there, right? Stuff like that, pipeline integrations, like I would love. Maybe there is a way that you can set that up in Unreal, actually. It's one of those things that I never really looked into, you know? I think that's also one of the things with game dev, right? Or like, let's say game art, to make it a little bit more specific. So much to learn. So much to constantly do. Like... Got big inspiration from the stuff they seem to be doing at Embark with their asset processor. Can you... Huh. I need to look that up because I've heard a lot of people talking about it and I kind of have an idea what they're doing, right? But I would be really interested in checking that out. Because yeah, Embark is taking the work smart, not hard, to like the next level. You can tell that by the amount of stuff that they're building currently. They're definitely, yeah. It's nuts. Like Kairo's saying, it's nuts. Automatic Boolean stuff or high poly? You put that into context for me. Oh, like if you... automatically Boolean stuff. Yeah, like automatic bevel and Boolean, right? So that you... I mean, I need to look into this. Have a look. I can find it. I think I've seen like a section of it. Yeah, I can remember seeing sections of it. Okay, I need to keep this in mind. I need to check that out. They set up primitives for booleans and stuff like nuts and bolts, etc. in Blender, so you just place those instead, and it will automatically do the high and the low poly for you. Oh, yeah. I mean, see, that little section there, it will automatically do the high and the low poly for you. That makes so much sense for me, because that was a thing that I was thinking about when Houdini first came to the thing, right? Like when Houdini was first discussed. I was like, someone smarter than me is gonna make like this whole pipeline thing where you just, either you make the high poly and you just say like, hey, make game ready geo for me, and you can set like, I don't know, some parameters. And then it will just like do all the rest of it, right? Because I always felt that all the rest of it could kind of be be done automatically anyway? Maybe, yeah, the low poly, like, it depends on what kind of workflow you're using, right? I think it's easy to, like, undo bevels and all that kind of stuff. Like, if it's more of a complex shape, that's where it's gonna be a little bit more tricky, but... In hindsight, is something that an obvious go-to for AAA studios, and I haven't seen anything like it yet. Is it going in the video? Nacho just barking in the back, fully agreeing. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised with that too. Like that. No other studios have done it before. But I think that's because... There's other studios not as public as Embark. Yeah, but I also think that pure high to low poly baking is going to become more and more archaic, right? Or like less and less used in like the grand scope of things. It's still going to be out there for sure, but I feel like the whole thing that a lot of studios are doing now is like the mask tileable workflow, right? Where you can easily change things up in terms of like textile density. It gives you so much more flexibility. I think that seems to be the way forward, at least to me. Yeah, the dog just wants to be included. Nah, I think he's seeing kids outside playing. He's like an old dog in like a young skin. He's just like shouting, "Get off my lawn!" Yeah, at least that's what it feels like to me. I don't know, what do y'all think? Like, about the whole high poly to low poly, that's going to be less and less of a thing in the future. To correct. We're kind of just putting the finishing touches on like the wall itself, it seems. Probably, especially when you consider one day high poly might be the low poly. Yeah. I disagree, to be honest. Like, it's still too much of a performance cost otherwise. What do you mean? Because like all of the stuff that I'm making for this scene has not been uniquely baked, right? And it's probably more performant than pulling in like a bunch of textures, right? Because I'm using mainly one texture. I mean, again, it's use case specific, right? Or like it's context specific, where I can reuse a lot of stuff because most of my scene is wood, so we have to take that into account as well. But I think if you can just set like a whole bunch of like shared tileables that are always pulled into memory, instead of having to dynamically load in like a bunch of stuff like on the fly. I don't know. You can do a lot of cool stuff where the dirt is always going to be the same kind of tileable. It's just going to be mixed in together with like other stuff differently, right? Depending on like what kind of masks you're using or how you're blending it together. I don't know. To me, it seems to be more of a fluent thing then. Yeah, high poly might be low poly. Yeah, yeah, because oh, Sarah, but I love unique textures. Well, they're not gonna go away, right? Like with everything, like even technology is gonna evolve. Let's say, let's do a thought experiment, right? Like nanite is gonna be the future, right? And nanite is like standardized in the whole industry. There's still gonna be low poly stuff. There's still gonna be people making games, with like low polys, right? And like the low poly art style is not going anywhere. So yeah, it just shifts things around, you know. Still people using the creation. Hi, David. Yeah, there might be some studios that just love their old technology, you know, because they invested so much money into it. Tileable also have the issue that they can be very generic to actually tile, which requires more blending on top of the materials to make them look visually interesting. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're definitely making good points. I'm not sure about the large pixel cost when blending materials. I mean, yeah, you have to. I don't know about that stuff, right? Like for that specific granularity, like I don't know about that stuff. Let's be honest. But I would say have a look at how they did the Callisto Protocol. They just did a GDC talk. Because they actually use this kind of thing. And also, like I feel like a good example for this is the Ascent as well, where that's done a little bit differently, right? Like that's not using masks and titleables anymore, but they just use like a lot of trims and, you know, like a lot of shader customized stuff to then have stuff look really detailed. Their assets look really detailed. Does your environment art PDF includes how you approach unique textures and trim sheets? Yep. Well, it has some tricks in there on unique textures, but it has a full breakdown on how to do trim sheets and planning them and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really have like a step-by-step on like how to make unique textures. There's more. I've added like a couple of tips in there. But the thing with the titleable and like them looking generic, right? It depends on how you mask them out, right? Because the titleable, if you just use, let's say, stupid example, but let's say if you just use like the vertex paint, and that's your only way of blending stuff together, yeah, it's not gonna look good. You have to have like a good blending, right? So yeah, for sure. When you're using titleables, the blending becomes way more important. Should have been working on this wall the entire time, huh? So nice to chat with people. It's crazy to me that Blender is such a good program, but free. Red Twintail Studios, hi! Welcome to the chat. And yeah, it is crazy. Like, that's why I switched. It's like, I don't want to be paying for this stuff anymore, you know? And I can do everything in here now. Let me actually check if I deleted like all the interior bits here. Because all those interiors need to go. Oh, you actually tried the creation kit? More power to you. I couldn't. Clowns in the chat for all the people that are using the CK. I think David just came in and dropped that bomb because he was frustrated, and then he left again. What's the best Hi Elias, what's the best plugin for setting the texel density in Blender? Maya is so much more easy. There's literally a plugin called texel density inside of Blender. Well, you have to download it, right? To get it as a thingy. But I'm using Zen UV currently that has a texel density tool built into it as well, which I am using. Yeah, I used texel density, which was just like a texel density tool by itself for a while. And then I also now I'm just using the one that's built into Zen UV. Mm-hmm. Gonna be cool to see what UV tools come out of this year's Google Summer of Code. Oh, do they actually build UV tools there as well? I mean, first time hearing about this, so got no idea. Pushing and pulling UVs around. Was a proposal for adding more of the edit mesh tools inside of the UV editor. That's cool. Again, I'll just let the smarter people figure it out. And then I'll just get all the benefits from the cool tools they make. Oh, and that's the bark. It doesn't matter. Set the texturizity. Rotate it a little bit. I feel like we're getting some warping here. Yeah, what happened here? Oh. Wait, what? Why is that a full one? Why is it split? What have I done? Wait. Oh, that is just a full one. It's always been that way. Okay. Sometimes you just need to get mad at your previous self, right? Main points from it seems to be adding an edge slide and adding an outline overlay for the UV islands, but after that, it's just adding other mesh tools to the UV. Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be cool. I mean, the edge slide feature would be handy sometimes. I can see that. Right. Oh wait, I think I missed like a very important thing here, right? Where was it? I think second favorite was Oh, so this is for the handbook, right? I don't have great feedback because it's really dense in a good way. The questions you get asked in the chat a lot are pretty covered, including some of the new 5.2 features, talking about other engines or going specifically into Substance Painter stuff might be good. Yeah, okay. Thanks for that, second favorite. I need to see what I can cook up in like Substance Painter because I don't do it enough. That's the issue, right? 5.2 features, I'm definitely going to cover at some point. Other engines, probably not. I just don't have the experience there, you know, to justify it. Like I don't use Unity. I don't use Godot or Godot, however you want to pronounce it. So that's always a tricky thing there, right? I was trying to figure out something. You're telling me you haven't used CK? David, do you want to write some tips about the creation kit? I heard you love it. Sure. Uh-oh. I think it's gonna be like a very, very short section of tips, right? It may be slightly unhinged. Yeah, just like tip on using creation kit. Don't use it. Thanks. It's my TED talk. Yeah, Sarah. Exactly. Vertex paint on nanite. Will it be possible? It already is, right? Isn't it? I haven't used nanite, so I don't really know. But I think, yeah, so the reason why I know is because other people were talking about it, that it supports vertex paint, but it's not per instance vertex paint, right? So if you vertex paint one object, yeah, like the vertex paint per instance, right? Yeah, yeah, that's a major drawback, right? Will it be possible? I've got no idea. I have no idea at all. That's probably a question that you should ask Epic Games, you know? I thought it was now, but I haven't used it yet. Yeah, same here. Like I think that's a major drawback to it, right? Like Jay is saying as well, talking about the vertex paint per instance. Yeah. Which is yeah, pretty annoying, right? Like what would be the workaround to that is like whenever you want to have like a new vertex paint setup, you have to duplicate the asset. And that's yeah, pretty ridiculous, right? Especially if you're used to like the old system where you could just do it regardless. But hey, I'm not a technical man. Honestly, I have no clue how it works, but I reckon if you could, you would end up having a hefty memory cost from doing so. Yeah, probably, right? Oh, I thought of something. A glass section. You could go over using translucent materials with different Unreal Engine lighting settings, show a simple current gen setup, and then show how that differs in substrate. The substrate thing is interesting. The glass one I already got covered because I wrote like the glass material in Unreal. So I wrote a complete tutorial about that. So might be interesting to condense that down and then to make comparisons with substrate. That's actually a good idea. I like that. I do like that idea. So thank you so much for that. Just quickly moving some stuff about. Yeah, the substrate thing is very interesting to explore. I think the PCG stuff is going to be very interesting to me and it's something that I want to dive into. So what I might do is transfer some of the stuff from this project to like an empty project and try and do some testing and start writing tips on that. Do we, because it's like a silhouette thing. Give it a quick shot. If we Something like this. Okay, just a little bit more geo on the top. I think I might need to push it just a little bit more. Of the PCG stuff? Yeah, that's the stuff that I want to dive into. It's just finding the time for it, right? Between all of it. But I love what you're doing with it as well, second favorite. I love your little experiments that you're sharing the community. I saw some video, a guy bakes vertex on the meshes without nanite, export the texture, and then blend them on Photoshop, then apply the new texture, and make the mesh nanite? But that also doesn't make sense, right? Because then you still just have like the one... What? That doesn't make sense at all. What? Am I missing something here? Like you're putting vertex color data inside of a texture and then applying it as a normal texture on top of it, which is not giving you anything else than what you would be doing with normal vertex paint anyway, right? Because you still have just the one instance. Now make more textures. Oh my god, make a separate texture for all? No. Okay, I see what you're saying now. So instead of doing it on like the individual mesh, you're doing it on like the texture. Which is basically the whole thing that makes nanite more cheaper than like traditional assets, is because they don't need like a stereotypical normal map necessarily, right? In a lot of cases, you can just blend like a detailed normal map on top of it. But now you're adding textures back on top of it, so you're kind of losing... You're kind of losing that whole optimization side of it. I love it. So chaotic, oh my god. And even if it works, right, Elias, like, I agree with you. It's too much damn work. Hell no. It's probably easier to then do it like the way that I said it, right? Which is also not going to be performant at all if you do it en masse. But duplicating the meshes, right? Yeah. Yeah, with the vertex color baker, that's what I'm doing in my current project, right? I'm just not using nanite. Because I'm saving out on like a massive amount of like material instances because I don't need to switch out like a mask in every one of them. And I can just set like standardized wood materials up for that. But yeah, like the whole nanite thing, I haven't explored that enough to... I haven't explored that at all. I just heard people talking about it. Okay. I do like what's going on here. I think... What are the colors that we're looking at? Because you definitely have the gray on like the outside. Not worth it. I might do that with like 4th channel if I implement that. So I'm gonna leave that for now. Oh, and then Wait, hold up. So what is... Yeah, okay, I thought so. So this stuff... Oh, what's happening? Oh. Why is it so slow all of a sudden? Gonna go back to work now? Yeah, no worries, Jay. No worries about the big tangent. Like, I love all the insights, man. Love all the thoughts. Enjoy going back to work, though. We'll speak later. Where is my wooden wall? And then we can still control color of these. Do not like that one though. That one is no good. It's this one, right? So let's just move that down. That ocean plugin from Unreal Marketplace we talked about the other night is oof. So good. Oh man. Send me a screenshot of how good it looks. I'm curious. And also share one with the FPS. I want to see that too. The FPS is probably going to be abysmal, right? Oh, dropped in frame. What? Okay. Oh, okay. That's surprising, especially because they themselves said like, this is not optimized, guys, so please watch out. That's cool though. So that goes down. To be fair, I have maybe 4%. Yeah, okay. Maybe that has something to do with it. Who cares, you know? We're artists. Especially for personal work, it doesn't have to be real time, right? Not necessarily. Just make it look pretty. It's not like you're ever gonna see those massively detailed hand drills with like 8K like in a game anytime soon, you know? So might as well go crazy on the environment art side too, you know? Come on. Live a little. How is everyone liking it that we've just been staring at a wall for the past 2 hours? I think the blending is kind of working though. I like where we're going, you know? What is this? We're getting a screenshot. Hey, this is nice. Cool, man. Looking sweet. Oh man, the only issue that I have with it now is that we're probably gonna need to do like a pass on a lot of this stuff then. Maybe, especially the wall. Maybe the wall's fine. I do love the look though. Like the look is coming together quite nicely. We'll need to tweak some of the colors and like the masking and all this stuff that's happening on top of it, but I feel like we can. Oh, maybe. I had the normal turned up like crazy though. It's looking cool and that color variation is doing a lot of work. Yeah. I think the transition is quite nice, right? We're getting there. I think the main thing that I still want to implement, but this is shader side stuff, right? Is you can see that you have like bright spots of wood and then like very dull spots of wood, like very old looking stuff, which could be very interesting if we then implement that into like the blue channel or something. Which actually, let's do it. Let's see if we can do something there. I don't know if I'm using the blue channel already. Not really. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit easy on myself. It's purple. Well, some blue. So, where do we do that? That's where the material blend comes in. That's the RVT stuff. base material, so because I could be lazy, right? So if I break material attributes and then set then break the base color from this guy. And then I use my blue channel mask. And just basically get the base color from here. Desaturate that by gonna do something like this. Say by certain percent. How does this work? Okay, so that's full gray now. It's taking that material. Just gonna lerp it together using blue channel as the alpha. We have that's the base. And then you got the desaturated color in there. And we set the material attributes from this guy. What comes after this? Opacity mask. Oh, we actually need to remove the opacity from this guy, right? Because we're using a different one for this. Do we? Oh no, we don't. Never mind. Makes sense. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. I think I need to invert it. I think it always comes in. I get confused. Like I always think it comes in as black, but it comes in as white, right? Or am I just wrong? So if I do vertex colors. These vertex. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's my biggest pain. Can you not change that in Blender for Unreal Engine 4? What, like the way that they come in? I think you can. Vertex color. I mean, yeah, I could fill this and then import it, right? That's what I could do. But it's fine. We'll just make it work. So if we go to modeling, I think you need to set it to ignore instead of replace vertex colors. I think I set it to ignore. think? Yeah, so I got it as ignore here, right? So it keeps like the current vertex color. Curvature. Hey yo. Let's bake. Yeah, okay, so now it works as intended. Okay. Alright, alright. If I then do a quick test over here. I go into mesh paint and then set paint. I don't. Oh no, I need colors, right? Only want blue. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That's working. And now we can start to tweak the effect, right? Because this doesn't look good at all. Now, where do I go? Blue channel desaturation. What I actually want to do is I want to make it darker as well. What does our ref say? Kinda. I mean, option for it will never hurt. So. What we do then? Just multiply that with a color. Then all that like blue channel tint. Then we can control the color of it as well, and then we can start tinting it up. Might be interesting. Okay. Oh, that looks horrendous. No, we need to multiply that with the mask as well. Oh, wait, no. We're gonna shift that around. So we're gonna do. This is gonna remain here. It's fine. We're gonna do here. Do this whole multiplication thing. So we're gonna. Okay. I'm just sat here watching magic happen. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Because I feel that a lot of the stream was very magic-less, you know? Yeah, okay. So, oh, that's pretty cool. We could use that for charring. So, oh, this is cool. Okay, so when they normally build walls out of wood, what they do is they char the underside of it so it protects it from moisture. So we could kind of use that effect on like the underside of it as well. If we then expose it, oh, that could be cool. Okay, and now we have some control over the whole effect. The only thing there is that doesn't give me any granular control over it. I can't have two colors. It kind of has to work for both of them. Because let's say what I mean is the bottom I would make like black, and then the top I would make like this, just this color variation that we're seeing here. That's not gonna work because it's gonna apply the same color to all of it. Hold up. You could just decrease the painting on top, right? We just make it like more subtle at the top. Of course, so dumb. And you could have this blackening effect at the bottom. Right? Yeah, not gonna work over here. No way. That's cool. And then we can still go into the material itself, right? Oh. Oh, let's check it out together. The deadline and art drop. I actually want to check it out. I haven't really taken the time to do it. So I'll check that out in a little bit. Be cool. Because I saw someone in our community share it. And I was like, oh, this looks cool. I need to check out some of the other stuff. Tim reacts, here we go. Now we can control this, right? So I can play around with that. Giving us some more color depth, right? If we too much. Yeah, that can actually give us like a lot of variation on top of it. I like that. We just need to make sure that we have vertices to paint on that are available to us, right? Yeah, this is cool. I like that. It does. Oh, that looks that looks ugly. The only thing. Now this is per instance. Right? So wasn't there a way that we could? Damn, where was it again? There was a way where we could transfer all the active vertex paint data to like all the instances as well. But I completely forgot how to do that. Is that in like the... It's not the molding tab, is it? Is that in the mesh itself? Oh, is it in mesh painting? Thank you, Cairo. Mesh painting. Oh, nice. Okay, so these are the same ones, right? Yes. So we then say apply. There we go. Nice. We'll need to bake the other one though. Fire. Pulling. Bake. Let's go. We are getting some really nice texture variation in here. Got you. Yeah, thanks, man. That's awesome. Now, testing time. We can do this on a blueprint as well. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, hell yeah. This is freaking awesome. I don't know why I didn't expect that would happen or like would work, but that's great. I love that. So you kind of even go a little bit crazier, right? Make it look like fully unique. Nice. The only thing that's going to be annoying, the actual module is not changing. And so I guess I can't have everything. That is quite nice though. I like that. Okay. This guy just peeking over the wall. Is this a nudist camp? Like, have I subconsciously made like a nudist camp over here? Just like the nude people like lurking over the wall. They're disappearing as well. The world's first. So sneaky. I don't even see him. I gotta say, that looks cool though. Like, I think the bark you use with some variation as well, probably, right? Because if you see a lot of it, it's gonna be very noisy. So maybe some built-in like color variation there too would work well. Be nice. Yeah, it looks way better than the wall next to it, you know? With just like the trim sheet applied to it. Now we're getting some actual texture detail and variation in there. Really happy with that. Real happy with that. Okay, Dead Island art drop, let's do it. Let me go on over. Yeah, these knots, right? Like these ones. It's also because they're always at the same height. So it's like super repetitive. For sure. They need to go as well. Especially if you look at it like this, right? It's super noticeable. It's because I was lazy. Because, yeah, I'm just using the same knots on this module as the other ones. I can't believe you're just calling out my laziness like that, Cairo. How dare you? Oh, they're also on the same trunk, which is not working in our favor probably, right? Oh, there's one to the side here as well. Do cheeky update. Yeah, I mean, it helped a little. I think this is a case where either we remove all of them or we add more so that the repetition kind of fades away in like the amount of them. And I'm kind of inclined to do, or well, there's a third option as well. Like we could make an additional module that has none of them and then it breaks it up even more, right? Maybe we could do that as well. Because to be fair, if we look at the back of it, the back is, well, maybe let's take an open section. Back repeats a lot as well. So it would be interesting to break that up if we can too. You've made 700, what's one more? Exactly. I should have like, oh my god, I should have like an emote. Something like that. It's just a scope creep, you know? Like we should add that in here specifically for this project. Yeah, you're right. What's one more? Come on. Live a little, you know? I do like the color variation though. I'm really happy with that. Even though it was like super simple to implement. What we can do to even drive that further is also let it affect the roughness a little bit. So that that also becomes a little bit more dull compared to the wood itself. Okay, I swear, last thing, and then we'll look at the Dead Island stuff. You guys should check that out too. Not this one. We go in here. Right, and then we're gonna use the blue channel as well. We're gonna add our little roughness stick in here. And we're gonna do a little lerp. This coming in here. We're picking the roughness from our base, right? And then as like a placeholder, I'm just gonna put in. I'm gonna put in like a value so that we can kind of play around with it. Blue channel roughness. Right, and then we'll plug that into the roughness here. What I might end up doing is I'm gonna look at the roughness map that's already in there and then do be best. So we want it to be duller, so I'm probably gonna do an overlay instead of a multiply. Or like a screen blend or something like that. I think screen is probably what I'll go for. Let's already open this stuff up. Dead Island. Oh, it's not an official Art Blast? Oh, that's... wait. Oh, it's not. That's sad. Okay. Okay, let's see what this did. Is we have a very shiny wood now. Which actually, I mean, it's way too much, obviously, but kind of cool. Let's see. Vertex. Where is my blue channel? Roughness. I think that my wood is already like very dull. So I don't know how much wiggle room we actually have. Oh, we're adjusting the specularity as well. What? So yeah, we can see. But it's honestly barely visible, right? Like in the just normal material view. Yeah, this does give us like a lot of variation though. Don't want to be going higher than 1. Yeah, okay. This is cool. Love that. Love it. Okay. Let's switch it on up. Let's have a look at this art blast. I see pipes. I click on pipes. Saving this for later. Let's actually start with some environment art stuff, right? Don't want to click on the gross human beings. Oh! Have to click on that. Oh my god, there's a bunch of stuff in here. What? I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but... Lighting is so nice. Yeah, it looks really cool. Just from the thumbnails. Very realistic, right? Like if you just... Very soothing lighting. Did a really good job on it. Love that. I'm gonna get very nitpicky. And almost has like the quadrification of like a Blender sim on it. Like I don't know why that stood out to me, but it's really nice though. I should play this then. You know, I love exploring games that have like good art. This looks really nice. I just don't know how much time you get to enjoy it when you're not bashing zombie skulls in, you know? Heat distortion? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's definitely some heat distortion happening in the back. For sure. Kind of cool. I like it, you know? Because it kind of also helps with like massaging the transition of LODs, you know? Like it's kind of clever that way. Yeah, this stuff looks nice. Oh, this is a cool shot. I like this one. Materials are really clean as well. Like clean as in like a nicely executed way, you know? Like they're not noisy. They're not noisy, but they have like a lot of character too. This could actually be like a great study for what we're doing with the studio stuff. Because we've actually kind of looked at like the same sort of art direction for our stuff, where we want to have it like clean in general, like the overall view is like very clean, but then you just have like noise in like places where it matters, right? I love the blend. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. This is the standard Unreal Engine font, isn't it? Oh, that's Roboto. Roboto, or whatever you want to call it. Isn't it? I hate that I focus on those stupid things. Like it's irrelevant if you're playing a game, right? But like I just look at it and I'm like, oh no. Yeah, this is very cool though. Pretty clean set dressing as well, which is what you would expect, right? From like a first person game, but like it's very clean. Cleanest location in LA. Oh dang, this looks nice. Ooh, This looks really cool. Great attention to detail as well. That must have been a fun kit to make. This kind of stuff. I love all this kind of stuff. Love this detail shot. Very nice. Let's have a look at some locations. Oh yeah, gotta have those reflections in there. Gonna make use of those RTX cores. Let's go. It's kind of nice. Like, I mean, it's not a benchmark to anything really. But I've been playing Fallout 76 a lot recently, and I'm enjoying it. But oh my god, I would wish that the game actually could commit to make stuff really dark. And I know that there's like a bunch of jankiness going on with the lighting in that game. But like, I want it to be really dark in certain locations, you know? Like, I want to have this. Have like lots of contrast in there. Jason Ord and Patrick Ziegler stuff is good if you're looking. Yes, I'm sure that we'll bump into them, right? They're probably in here somewhere too. Ziegler, Jason Ord. Get those guys up in here. Yeah, this stuff is tasty looking. Nice contrast. Cool shots as well. Like I love the more artistic shots, you know? Oh yeah, here we go. Jason Ord. Some sewers. Oh, these nasty spider webs. I love it. This is cool. Cool location. Slave feed fur. It must have been an interesting game to work on, because if you have to take away the nasty zombie stuff, it just really looks like GTA, realism, etc. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of does, right? Like it has like, if you didn't know the name of the game, this could have been like just a GTA. Right? But like, I love the attention to detail. Yeah, someone had fun set dressing this location, you can just tell. One, by how good it looks, and also two, by how many screenshots there are. The lighting is very nicely done. That nice border trim as well, that's looking nice. Oh, that's sweet. Nice vista shot. Yeah, these vista shots are really nice. Yeah, the fire at the back of the Hollywood sign. I mean, you gotta do that, right? If you're making a game like this, like, that is your main icon of the game, it needs to be fucking destroyed, you know? Or there needs to be something happening there, for sure. Oh, in the dark? Hell yeah. Oh, man. Man, I wish on the last thing that we worked on for Far Cry 6, like the stuff that we worked on, the missions, I wish that we could just make use of more day and night scenarios. But we had this mechanic that was all around, like you being in the shadow, so there had to be a sun, right? Oh, this is nice. Love it. I love how in the New Horizon DLC, thousands of years have passed, humanity has crumbled, but the Hollywood sign survives. Yeah, you gotta retain the icons, you know? That was cool. I love the sewer. The sewer was really nice. Cool as well. All the burned out stuff. This is very underappreciated, you know? Like making a burned out building like look really good is very tricky. Because generally, like, the main thing you're gonna have to play with is just like a lot of black, right? Like everything is just gonna be black and like burned and charcoal and all that stuff, and to make something look good, yeah, very interesting. I mean, and making it interesting is the trickiest thing. Hey Elias, thank you so much for becoming a member. I think you should be able to sign up to, or like should get access to our Discord now. Thank you so much for becoming a member though. Oh. What? What is this? What? What? This is gross as gross as hell. What? Oh my god. Disgusting. Ew, that looks gross. Yeah, exactly, Joe. I'm backing out of that one. Pretty well done, yeah. Oh my god. That takes me back to when I had to sculpt sick or vomit for when I was doing Planet Coaster. Probably the weirdest thing, and also like weirdly proudest, one of the more prouder moments in my life, you know? And it actually landed in my lap by accident because someone else was actually working on it. But yeah, they were kind of struggling with the reference. So I was like, just let me do it. I'll be fine. That was yeah, that was interesting. I was looking up reference pictures on lunch break. That was don't say it landed in your lap. Yeah. Yeah, it 100% did, man. 100% did. Cool locations. Oh, hell yeah, the full car in there as well. Oh, look at that juicy. Oh, no, I don't want to draw attention to it now. Wait, hold up. Hold up. Let me go there, please. Look at this juicy cutout stuff happening on the edge. Love it. Some nice stuff going on. This is cool. Oh, this material looks really nice as well. Yeah, the more I'm looking at this, the more that I want to play it, just to explore it. This game looks gorgeous. And how big was this team? Because the team doesn't look that big. Right, like who has like some of the posts in here? Dan Sonley worked on it, okay. Someone else that I know is working with them now. Excited to be part of the community? Hell yeah! Lots of work over many years, I guess. Well, yeah, this is where it gets tricky, right? Because this studio worked on it for 5 years? Question mark? I'm not sure. Oh. Here in Brazil, nice. Wait, hold up. I'm just gonna close this, right? I think the auto stuff. Off to the grocery store. Thanks as always. Tat and Chim. I was gonna say that. Tim and Chat. Thanks so much for being here, second favorite. I'll catch you in the next one. Yeah, but I need to play this. Polish done by Andreas. Nice work, Andreas. Yeah, I'm definitely... It's tricky, right? Because I feel like I'm more of a fan of like where the lighting has like exterior lights coming in. Because more of these artificial locations, I feel like they're... I don't know, they just hit different to me. But like the architecture, like Cairo was saying as well, like there's so many details in here, you know? So much variation. So many details. This is awesome. Yeah, what I was saying before, like this team worked on it for 5 years, I think, right? Because I'm not too well versed on the development of this game. I mean, I know all the troubles that it went through, right? And like switching hands and all that stuff. But from what I'm seeing here, like all the people that worked on this, like, there's not too many of them. What I can tell. Which makes the whole thing even more crazy, right? I mean, it's always kind of hard to tell, right? Because it's always kind of hard to tell because what was I gonna say? Like, you never know who's posting their work on ArtStation or not, right? You might look at the ArtStation post and be like, oh my god, this is a very small team, but it might actually be like double the size. The other people just didn't post their stuff. Do you think you would be able to tell this is Unreal Engine 4? Anything jump out? Oh, that's a good question. I wouldn't though. Like at first glance, I had no idea. You know? Like, I'll be honest. There's no real thing that's really giving it away as being an Unreal Engine 4 game, right? At least to me. What does everyone else think? Like, did you notice this was made in Unreal Engine 4? I think something about the interiors without the exteriors light, as you say, look like Unreal Engine 4-ish. Yeah. I think... What is a good example, right? Like something like this. This... I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's Unreal Engine 4, right? But it's definitely looking like... I don't know, the comparison between the interior and the exterior lights, right? Like... I feel like the exteriors are more fleshed out. Because, I mean, let's be honest. Like 90% of the game is probably going to be exteriors, right? It is Unreal Engine 4. There are some videos. Oh, yeah. I was not debating that it wasn't Unreal Engine 4. I was just looking for where you could see that it was, right? Like what... Because normally when I look at Unreal Engine games, the most common thing that I see is they have that kind of softiness going around, right? They have like the soft smirchy edges that's maybe down to the anti-aliasing that it's using. No worries, Joe. No worries. You're all good. But you can't really see that here. Right? I think, from my understanding, if it's Unreal Engine 4, they must use something like ray trace global illumination or something like that, right? I've never used it myself. But like the lighting here, like looks freaking fantastic. Gotta go to an art review. Have a good Friday, everybody. Have a good Friday, Cairo. Thanks for being here, buddy. Yeah, this stuff looks gorgeous. See, we got like a bunch of pipes. Oh wait, Joe, you're saying 16 people. Plus one outsource artist. Oh. Yeah. I mean, it's normal, right? They're definitely going to use outsource. We're talking about like modern game development, so there's definitely going to be a lot of outsource involved. But yeah. That's interesting. Elias, how do I get into the Discord? I'll probably have to check that out after the stream. I thought that was like automated when I set that up for YouTube. I'll check that out for you after the stream. Sorry about that. Let's have a look at some more stuff on here. Yeah, that's outsourced on their team, and of course there will be more outsourced studios and things involved too. Yeah, for sure. These videos are a real treasure for Game Desk. Thanks a lot. Nice, thank you for popping in and saying so. That's awesome. User interface. Yeah, this stuff looks good. You know, like all the bent metal and like the car crash and all that kind of stuff looks really, really nice. Like a little damaged concrete on here. Yeah, this game looks very good. Street Signs! Let's go! That is some juicy subsurface scattering on those leaves as well. The balance there. My god, the whole facade fell down. That's awesome. Let's see. Show more. We're probably not going to have too much to say about this, but... Which is the damage. Cuts and geometry meshes were needed. Added some kit bash. Decal dressing. Yeah, makes sense. So it's like a combination of like decals and an actual geometry in between it, right? That looks nice. It's kind of the same way that we did it on Far Cry as well. So you would have like the rough thing here, right? If we look at this thing, if they used the same technique, and a lot of games do this, right? So this is not like freaking giant mystery or something like that. Is that you would have two materials, right? You would have like a damaged plaster, the green stuff. Oh, which is gonna be number one, and then you would have like the edges, which is like another tileable material here. And then the rest on top of it would be just like material decals, like just mesh decals, like overlaid on top of it. Right? And this would be picked from like an atlas of like just like concrete decal cracks. So you would have like a very simple model that transitions from like just the top is material 1, the side is material 2, and then to blend it all together, you add these decals on the side to help you with the transition. Right, and then do the same thing. The same decal sheet is then also used to add all this stuff on top of it as well, like all these cracks. Very cool technique. Makes me wonder whether any of the studios that previously helmed the game worked on the final release as outsource. Which games worked on it? Which studios worked on it? Let's have a look. I don't even know. It's probably not gonna say in here, right? No. Techland was one of them, and then Sumo Digital. I don't think Techland does outsource, so they probably weren't involved with that, right? Because I think they were just too busy with Dying Light. Yeah, they decided to focus on developing Dying Light instead. And then Sumo Digital. Does it say in here? Development of the game had changed hands to Dan Butcher Studios, an internal studio. That's like 2019. Oh, Jaeger as well? Oh yeah, it says in here. Managing director later stated that the company's departure from the project occurred because Jaeger and Deep Silver's respective visions for the project fell out of alignment. Jaeger Productions filed for insolvency. Oh, interesting. Because Jaeger still makes games, right? Like they made The Cycle, I think, because that's like a German, like it's actually a Berlin studio. I visited their offices, so I think it might have been like, hey, this whole co-development thing is not really for us, so we're just going to be making games internally instead. Yeah. Interesting. So your question was whether any of the studios previously worked on the final release as outsourced. I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to tell, right? I'm just speculating. Maybe Sumo did a little bit of it, but the other two definitely not. I mean, Jaeger definitely not, because they filed for insolvency, right? So they were definitely not involved. Even with the main office, like with the main office focused on The Cycle, I think they had their hands full. Techland was too busy developing their own game, so maybe Sumo would have helped them a little bit. It's hard to tell. ASM, hello Tim. I'm not a member yet. I was interested in the team environment challenge. Are people assigned to teams, or are teams made by the individuals? No, so we assign people to teams. It's based on a whole bunch of factors, and we try to make like balanced teams out of it. So yeah, we do decide on the teams ourselves. Got some doors, got some other stuff. Pretty cool work. Let's see. So Cairo said to check out Patrick and Jason's work. I think we already looked at the sewers, which was really nice. Venice Beach, we've already seen as well. Let's go for the metro tunnel. Let's have a look. Ugh. Dirty growth on the side of things. Oh, that's cool. What is that? Is that like pebbles on the floor? I'm assuming so, right? Oh, yeah. Look at that nice light. I am really curious because this is a day and night cycle, right? So they can't use rate days. Well, can they? Because the implementation that I was thinking of, like the ray trace global illumination, was more meant for like offline rendering, right? So, curious what kind of tech they used. Real nice though. really nice. Nice and clean, you know? Like clean as in the way that everything is laid out. Like you have like areas of rest versus like very detailed areas, like creating this really nice contrast. Like especially something like this, like a lot of it is like very clean, and then the stuff that actually needs to stand out does, because it doesn't like vie for your attention, right? Like this stuff is asking for your attention, but the walls actually just have like the functionality done to them. It's really cool. The way that it should be done, in my opinion. So Patrick is no longer there. Jason is no longer there either. Anne is no longer there. Man, that's so crazy. You know, just like the people leaving the studios, like after they did such great work. I mean, I don't know the internal mechanics or like even their personal reasons why, right? It's still kind of crazy that now the studio needs to train up those people again, right? Heat distortion on the road. Cool. Yeah. Love the look of this game. Really nice. Seems like I'll need to play it. Watched this one already. Have a look. Let's see. Samantha Steele. Let's have a look. Level owner for Monarch Studios. I was responsible for taking various areas from white box and gray box to final quality. It's awesome. Oh, there's only 2 images. No. Have a look. So which ones have we seen already? This one? Monarch Studio Streets? Hero's Journey Lane. Love that. Storytelling and gore dressing. That's probably the first time that I heard that name. Like that word. The gore dressing of a level. It's nice to get a little picture in there too. The grass is interesting. Like it's actually surprisingly stylized. Well, here we go again, right? The whole stylized discussion. It's surprisingly thick. Right? Like it's the leaves of the grass themselves are quite broad. Compared to like the very realistic and like granularity of the sand around it. Could also be a thing where it's like an optimization thing, right? So you don't get like a lot of artifacts as soon as you start moving out from a distance, because it retains its shape for longer. Ugh. That is so cool. This looks awesome. I need to check this game out. I will need to check this game out. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining me on this freaking discovery tour of Dead Island 2. Like the stuff that they build is awesome. I'll need to check this out. That being said, I'm actually gonna leave the stream here. It's gonna be a little bit of a shorter one, but I think this is like a good way to transition. I'm just gonna do some more art and play some video games with my girlfriend. So, thank you everyone for being here. I'm gonna check out the Discord issue, Elias, to get you like access. We'll get that figured out after the stream as well. And yeah, what is on the program next? So I'll probably be finishing, like today we worked a lot of time on the walls, right? Like the walls that we were making. What I'm probably going to be doing is I'm going to finish up those walls and then see what we're going to do next for our little environment. Because I kind of want to get the walls done so that we have this as like a benchmark and then maybe apply it to like the rest of the scene as well. Yeah, I'll do that behind the stream and then I don't know what we're going to do next, you know? It's going to be a surprise. So yeah, I wish you all a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.